Sure he can.
Y'all are terrible. Terrible jokes. All right. Well, guys, welcome to the Monster Trio podcast. As always, you got Tawan here.
Dominique.
And I'm Matt. And today we are going to be talking about the most recent chapters of One Piece, chapter 1009 and 1010. It has been pretty crazy recently, and that's why we are going to talk about it. We're going to save My Hero and Black Clover for our monthly reviews with them, but One Piece, just these past few chapters have been masterpieces.
Yeah, after 1009, I mean, 1009 hit really, really hard, especially me as a Zoro fan. Um, and next thing you know, 1010 hit even harder, and it was just kind of like, okay, we're really in the climax of it all now, and it was impossible to not want to go ahead and talk about these things. There's so much going on. There's too much going on to try to save it for a month. And yeah, I was incredibly excited to go ahead and just get the ball going on this conversation because obviously we love One Piece. That's just who we are, as Tawan, Matt, and myself. But these chapters were some straight bangers. Like what everyone was expecting chapter 1000 to be and how hype we were for 1000, like every One Piece content creator was. That's what 1009 and 1010 gave us. Like that's what we were expecting. The high, like the amount of awesomeness from these two chapters.
I mean, chapter 1000 should have just been like what, 50 pages. It should just drop loads, but at the same time it was still enjoyable. But just
I couldn't imagine if Elder gave us. I couldn't imagine if Elder gave us 50 pages. Like that would be the best like chapter drop ever if it was just 50 pages of straight fire.
And you know what you probably would have done if you were to do that, not giving us any One Piece for a month, and we would have been all like super pissed about it.
Been mad, but then it dropped like 50 pages. Like, okay, never mind. It's
this is
okay.
worth it. This is worth the wait. But I am really glad to see Orochi again, and I love seeing theories being verified.
Like that's what 1009 just teases you because like, oh, cool. Like, yes, the samurai standoff, but that's just the tip of the iceberg of how great 1009 is. Like, when we get Orochi back, you're right. Like what you said, one like Orochi's back. They're just trying to stop the fire, and all his heads just start popping off.
Yep, and then just start taking that tumble, and all these samurais go after him. So it's just like, is that really the best method if that didn't work the first time? But
But his head is like his heads are laying there like his original head did after when Kaido cut him off.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, with everything from Orochi, we still have one head that has not been cut off yet. So we have his like the one head Kaido cut, and then I think in 1009 they cut off six heads.
One, two.
I think he only pulled out 6 of his heads, and they cut them all. Obviously, they cut them all off.
Let's see, 1, 2.
He's probably still hiding one inside his like body or behind another head.
So
he brought 6 heads out, and they cut all 6 heads off. So yeah, he still has the 8th head, the last head, still hiding. That he's supposed to have. So, I was honestly fine when this happened with originally thinking that this was the end of Orochi. Like, I get it. It would have been a really lame comeback. Like, oh, Orochi's actually alive. And, oh, he's ran into the scabbards immediately. But then with them, no hesitation, cutting all of his heads off, like him challenging them, and all of them just being like, yeah, we have no time to deal with you, and just cut all of his heads off. For me, I would have been like, that's perfectly fine. To me, it made Orochi's purpose feel like it was for him to set the castle on fire because that's what he did, and then he was running away. So for me, it was like something big is going to happen because the castle's on fire. That was important. That's why he was alive again, and now he can be dead. And then because the scabbards couldn't defeat Kaido, them at least defeating Orochi is like still a great revenge plot for the scabbards for Odin because it's Orochi's fault in the first place. But I know, if I'm not mistaken, Hiyori talked about it, and everyone's kind of a lot of people put Zoro, like mentioned to Zoro about Orochi, and Zoro had mentioned wanting to kill Orochi. So I guess this saves the final death of Orochi to being Zoro's.
I don't. I guess I could see that. I don't really know why Zoro would need to be the one that kills Orochi. Um, Even though he's, the Shogun, he doesn't feel like a major villain. He seems like more of an annoyance. He's kind of like a Horty Jones, in my opinion.
I was
He's
like,
he's
or
there
a
to get his,
waffle. I was
he's there
thinking
to get his
waffle. I
ass
was thinking
kicked.
more waffle, but that's Horty Jones also. I can see that too.
I think Horty, just because Horty kept coming back with those like pills that he kept taking. He was never actually stronger than Luffy, other than when he took the pills. So it was just like that annoyance.
And he still wasn't stronger than Luffy.
Yeah, he still lost.
Yeah, heck, Zoro would have had Horty beat if it wasn't for the pills. Like he almost would beat him.
I feel like any of the top three, so Luffy, Zoro, or Sanji, could have taken down Horty, because none of the crew had a problem fighting any of their crew.
No, that was an easy episode, easy arc to be like, welcome back, Straw Hat crew. This is the Grand Line now, the New World, but like, you guys are obviously a lot stronger and are can defeat this quote unquote villain with no problem.
Yeah, but the hardest fight that was Luffy battling water. That was the hardest part, right? I mean, to be honest, like, yeah, Red Hawk is cool and everything, but like, if Luffy didn't have that air bubble, I mean, yeah, he would have lost immediately. But yeah, so I don't think Orochi is gone quite yet, but he is still going to be the annoyance in the background. And actually, I can see like the whole like Skull Island being on flame and coming down towards the Flower Capital, and like have to do like birdcage stop of it, like on top or somehow or something like that. But
I know Tawan earlier was mentioning like some of the theories that he had read and things like that. He was in more of the Conqueror's Haki, which we'll get into for the next chapter. But I heard a lot of the One Piece fan base talking about Raizo most likely dueling off against Fukurokuju again because they were rivals, and it's awesome that we got that again here in 1009 as well. Like Scabbard's quickly defeat Orochi, and Fukurokuju's like screaming after him and essentially challenges Raizo, and they do their one-off battle. And just like how Inuyasha had like stopped to go fight Jack, it's starting to seem like the Scabbards are one at a time stopping to fight another person / villain. I guess you can say villain. So like, it makes me curious as to what's going to happen there. Like, is it going to be the continuation of like one at a time, each person drops off to fight someone, so that essentially at the end, Kanjiro and maybe Denjiro fight. Kinemon and Denjiro end up fighting Kanjiro like for the final battle or something. But that's just kind of like where my head starts to go with what's happening with the Scabbards, because obviously Kaido's not their last fight, and right as we just saw, Orochi's not their last fight. So now that I can only think of the final defeat of Kanjiro being their final task.
Yeah, I see. Now I'm thinking about it. Kimon being like very imperative to this arc or this part of the arc, especially since the castle's on fire because he can cut fire.
Ew.
So I could see him being a way of stopping or calming that down. And Zoro can cut with fire now too, so he might come into action with that.
Will cutting the fire stop the fire? Because think about Zoro was cutting up Prometheus, but then he's all the fire was still there.
I guess. I mean, maybe he makes a way out. Let's say that he'll save people. I just thought about him, having a fire sword ability, so it would make sense for that to come into effect in some way of, freeing everyone from the castle at least. Maybe not stopping the fire entirely. But then we get back to the action, back up top, to what we really want to see. which is Kaido and Big Mom, going for huge swings on the supernovas.
Which is not just what I was not expecting. Is like, oh, let's just give him Big One. They're like, what do they name Big One? let's give him Big One attack, and they just like they must do like a Brody and Dory, Dory and the two giants, Froggy and Dory. I'm blanking on their names, but they like line up in the same attack. Like they're both like both their swords ready, both their weapons ready, and just fire off an attack towards everybody. And I gotta admit, Zora took one for the team.
He did. There are so many memes about Zoro in this fight, and I love every single one of them.
That's because Zoro's quite clearly the MVP of this rooftop battle. Yeah, time and time again, my boy is showing up and proving why he is the number 2 Straw Hat. And once again, I think I said this a few episodes ago, but quite clearly why he could, if he really wanted to, maybe even be the number 1 Straw Hat. He is the brawler of the fight. He's the strength of the brawler of the fight, brawler of the crew. He's the strength of the crew. I mean, clearly Luffy's going to also be the strength. He's the captain. He has to win battles. But I mean, that's kind of Zoro's thing. He wants to be the strongest swordsman. He's there for strength, and he showed that here. I love the banter between Kaido and Big Mom, like showing that they are kind of in a quote unquote alliance, but like a love-hate relationship. Kaido was like, I trust your core hasn't gotten weak with age, old woman. And then Big Mom being like, who do you think you're sassing, boy? So it also just makes me wonder, like, how old truly, what is their age difference like with this? Because they seem around the same age, but I guess the older you get, everyone looks the same age. But with that, like, I guess quite clearly Big Mom's maybe like a solid 20 years older than Kaido.
I think they're about the same age, if I thought, because they joined the Rocks crew right before they disbanded from them. They started their own pirate crews about the same time.
I believe Kaido was a cabin boy.
I mean, we can neither confirm nor deny that. So
I think it can be confirmed.
Is it canon?
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna try to find it.
I'll search for it while you guys. But yeah, I'm happy to see them go back at it. I was gonna say maybe the reason that they use that terminology is because I think, like, anthropologically speaking, it's more common to see women, especially like downgraded by calling them old women, versus men, where they usually get called like children.
Interesting. I just love the banter after the attack. Like Kaido just says that their voices haven't gone out. I think he can like see the colors of the new generation. And then was it Law and Kid being like, "Oh yeah, thanks guys, thanks," and Law being like, "Zoro, you still alive?" Zoro just saying, I think so." Just
Did you say what Zoro did? Because I was sorry, I was looking else. I didn't hear what if you said.
Oh, yeah, we said what Zoro. Yeah, because they like Big Mom and they said like they swung the attack like the
they used a combined attack of their essential strongest attacks to being the conquest of the sea, and with that attack, essentially expected everyone to die because they would, what did Big Mom say? How many do you think will survive this attack? And, Zoro went out there being the best and blocked it for a few seconds. Enough seconds to let Law transport everybody. I mean, took hella damage. He's coughing up all kinds of blood. But it shocked Big Mom and Kaido to see him stand in front of it. But yeah, I mean, he's coughing up all kinds of blood during that attack and during that defense.
And Luffy not giving a crap either, just going straight after them. They're like, "Oh, cool! I just unleashed my final attack," and it's like, "No, I'm going after you." I'm just.
So Big Mom is 68, and it does not give Kaido's age, but she's almost 70, so she is an old woman.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember reading that with the God Valley stuff that Shanks, or not Shanks, similar
Kaido.
to Shanks, Kaido was the cabin boy for Rocks, and Shanks was one for Roger. But anything I look up kind of says that, but it's nothing's like a canon site. So we're not gonna. That's not the topic of this conversation, but that's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
If we can find it for sure. But like Matt said, once everyone was teleported, everyone's like, I think we're all good. Is everyone alive? Everyone's checking on Zoro, which is cool. It's interesting the difference in the translations. With scans versus the Viz, because in the Viz they said that Eustace Captain Kidd said thanks to Zoro, and that just is not a thing that you would see Kid do. Like, I don't think no matter what happens that Kid would say thank you to like an enemy, because to him every pirate that's not his pirate crew is an enemy. So I don't think he would say thank you to Zoro. Um, I mean, he may have said some real smug shit like solid block or something like that. But I don't think he would have said thanks. But again, that's the official translation, so I guess he said thanks. But as I said, I called him Eustace Captain Kidd and not Useless Captain Kidd because
he actually does something. He does something a little later on. He does something a little later on. You're welcome. As a Kid fan, I mean, he might not have done what Zoro did, but he yelled in. He did his part.
But yeah, I love Luffy's like. People talked about that face that Luffy makes because it's really, really weird. And maybe it's just because of the angle, but I did love that Luffy attacked Kaido. Kaido dodged, and Luffy had that quick smirk, like, you just dodged. Why'd you dodge, Kaido? Huh?
It's gonna hurt you, right?
Yeah, it's gonna hurt, huh? Yeah, is that why you're dodging, my guy? Huh?
And he got wrecked with that mace.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kaido proceeds to use his essentially hyper beam attack.
Hyper beam.
And then, I mean, Kaido had like a crazy combo follow up right there. Swinging the mace, hyper beam, follow up with Conqueror of the World, of Three Worlds. Then the Ragnarok, or I think they had to like translate it into Ragnaroku, so it didn't say exactly Ragnarok. Like, I mean, he straight up.
He wrecked Luffy.
Yeah, that Jack hurt. So I mean, that was probably one of the first instances where we actually see like him infuse something with Conqueror's Haki.
I mean, I think he did when he was sending the beam off when they first got to Wano, and then he hit Luffy with the Ragnaroku also the first time. But Luffy is getting more used to being hit by powerful attacks that he can actually withstand them. It's not I don't think it's the first time we've seen Kaido do it, but it's the first time. Like, next chapter explains like how he's doing much more powerful attacks. But I don't think it's the first time we've seen him do this. But then that's when the other supernovas actually start making some moves against Big Mom. Was it Prometheus being stuck inside the
Zeus.
Inside the
Zeus.
Zeus. Oh yeah, Zeus stuck inside the metal box that
Kid made, and then
useful Captain Kidd.
So I was listening to BDA Law, and apparently someone commented in his group about what that box was. I forgot what the name of the box is called, but essentially the way it allows Zeus to stay trapped is that any type of electrical output goes immediately outside of the box. So like there is no, as much as Zeus would want to release his electrical charge to maybe destroy the box, he literally can't, because any electrical charge that he sends out immediately goes outside of the box. And it's some type of like actual engineering design. And I really wish I remembered what the box was called. I tried to look it up, but I could not find it. But that's like why Zeus is able to be stuck in there. And as we know, Kid is an engineer, so he would have known the type of box needed to begin this plan of separating Big Mom from her homies.
But it probably took him some time to gather all the right materials for it also. And that's why he was sidelined. Like that's not something you just whip up in overnight, or not overnight, but in the battle with very limited metal anyway.
I mean, I guess the moment that they decided and this is what they don't show us, I guess. Like the moment they decided that they needed to separate Big Mom and Kaido, I'm pretty sure right then and there, Kid maybe came up with that because, and we know that at some point they had to talk about what their plan was because everyone did their role, so they talked. It's just not on screen or on paper as to what they did. But yeah, they came up with that plan as to being like, have Kaido essentially do this and we're gonna take away Zeus and then chop up Prometheus and chase Napoleon and then kick Big Mom off the island because
I mean, technically the plan was Luffy kind of busy. We'll go take out Big Mom. I mean, that's really what the plan was.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Luffy made sure that it rolled. I guess not Luffy, but Kid and them made sure that it worked with. I mean, it's such a beautiful combo. I mean, Kid trapped Zeus, Zoro cut up Prometheus.
Killer gets
and then Big Mom, Killer goes after Napoleon, which just makes you laugh at Killer because like he just kind of chased Napoleon, but he didn't do anything.
It's funny.
But he's keeping him distracted.
Napoleon was like, "Stop! I'm just a sword."
Yeah. You got a little personality that the homies have. And then obviously Big Mom, drops down and it's like, you think that because I don't have these that, you can beat me now, and charges right after Kid and just gives him a solid, straight to the jaw. And apparently, I guess that was kind of part of Kid's plan because he immediately lashed on his metal arm to her and then repelled her into the sky. And then Kid using tact to have that boulder smack, huge ass boulder. Yeah, sorry, Law using tact to have that boulder knock Big Mom clean off of Onigashima.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was such a great way to end the chapter. It's like, oh man, they actually did something.
Combo breaker.
Because I think I was telling you guys, I'm like, I don't want it to be like, oh, like this makes Big Mom worse, like Emperor of the Sea, but she really got beat by a rock. That's.
I feel so
far we're presumed that she got beat by a rock.
I feel so bad for Big Mom, and in the sense that like the One Piece community makes fun of her the most out of the Yonko because like she just consistently seems like the most dunce out of all of the Yonko, and just keeps getting like all these really sad, pathetic things done to her. I mean, even the amnesia.
She's an indestructible tank, though. She's still indestructible.
Yes, but I mean, pretty much every Straw Hat has thrown Big Mom around so far. Robin Jinbei and Robin literally threw her and rolled her out of the battleground. Jinbei's thrown Big Mom twice now. Frankie ran over her face.
And then Chopper. Chopper did work on Big Mom too.
Yes. And Brooke followed. I mean, pretty much every Straw Hat has like put work in on Big Mom.
Yeah, I think every Straw Hat except Usopp is like actually fought her.
I think you're right. And Usopp and Nami, like no, even Nami
Nami stole Zeus.
That's right. Never mind. Wow, our Lord and Savior God Usopp has not done anything to Big Mom.
So that's that in and of itself is so it's kind of sad that she is the Yonko that essentially gets bullied by the Straw Hats.
But even still, like she's still a threat. Like no matter what, like even when she was in her amnesia state, she's still a threat.
But who to who?
Nobody's not be like, oh yeah, we'll easily take her out. So like, oh, we have to deal with this now. That's
But Chopper made Lin because that thing they called her Lin. Like Chopper made her a friend. It's like the amnesia plot line makes her a friend of Chopper, and ally essentially, compared to non-amnesia being like, I'm gonna kill everybody except Nico Robin. And then of course you have like her hunger pangs.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see if that comes into play or not, because I know she was wanting those what are they called? Why am I blanking? Those dangos. And
from the little girl.
Yeah, she wanted a lot of dangos like that, and people were saying like don't eat all of them. Big Mom wants some, and I don't know if we saw that she got to really have the feast that she was wanting. So, like, are we gonna see hunger pangs come from Big Mom? Maybe not, because I don't think she's focused on food right now. She's focused on taking out the Straw Hats and kidnapping Nico Robin. So maybe that won't come into play here. And I don't think the amnesia is going to come back here either. Um, but yeah, like once 1009 ended and we saw that, we all knew that they weren't going to like let Big Mom easily die from that type of easy knock off Onigashima, fall into the ocean and be done with it. I had my theories of her landing on land and maybe right there having been her pirate ship and the rest of the Big Mom pirates, and then them start making their way towards the Road Poneglyph, wherever that's at in Wano. Or maybe she did fall in the water but still got saved by her kids. But I mean, quite literally, very early in, we see in 1010 we find out that, as we knew, she wasn't going to fall in the water, but Prometheus was able to save her. Even though now that Zoro can cut fire, which is huge because he talked about that a long time ago about cutting fire, him cutting up Prometheus, that after Kaido was had taken out Luffy, he turned his attention to Zoro because Zoro was attacking Prometheus, and Kaido was like, I need Prometheus to go back to get Big Mom. And so,
and then Law just goes in for a little sneak attack too.
Injection.
Oh, the injection shot, such a nice attack.
Right in the throat.
Okay, so it's an antibacterial curtain. What
would that do?
Yeah, I mean, does it just like help, like, is it slight poison to Kaido, kind of like the gamma knife to Flamingo?
Let me look up and see.
So I read that, I was like, isn't that the opposite of what you want, a bacterial curtain into his throat, not an antibacterial?
Well, I think no, he used the curtain after he did the injection shot. He did the injection shot and then he did the curtain when he was getting attacked. I think it's just like a defensive move to add like a buffer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was more for him. Like, he stuck Kaido with something, then he's like, okay, here's a blanket for myself.
Yeah, like his injection shot is like is essentially like a needle shot, straight giving you an injection, like injecting into Kaido's throat, which dealt damage because it was more of an internal attack. But then Kaido was, he saw Kaido ready to attack him, and I guess his curtain is like a defensive move, because all we know is that Law has a bunch of like offensive type of abilities. With like his shambles and his injection shot, and like you said, his gamma knife, and everything that he uses. And I think this is like a cool, maybe defensive type move that we've never seen before, but allows the curtain to absorb some of the damage that the incoming attack would deliver, and which is really important because, as you know, Kaido is hella strong, so that allows like Law to not be one-shotted when he does that.
Yeah, he's a little bit more fragile than Luffy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have definitions for injection shot and the curtain. So the injection shot, while aiming at his target, Law rushes towards them with his sword stretched out in order to stab them. Once his sword connects, Law makes it fire like a gun, making the target bleed in the aimed spot while pushing them back a fair distance. So it's literally just like shooting his sword at them and then, bringing it back.
Cool.
And then the curtain is a defensive technique that Law makes, pulling the motion of his arms stretched horizontally in front of him, which generates what appears to be a protective, transparent veil between him and his opponent, akin to a surgical draping. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're correct, Dom. Yeah, but that made Prometheus get away and go rescue Big Mom. But I'll put it best ways. Like, if somebody dies, we might as well just lose.
Yeah, I mean, if one of them dies, they're all gonna die.
Mm-hmm. But my boy Killer steps up. He's like, or not killer, kid. Kid says like kid says to killer, "Hey, let's go. We'll take care of Big Mom. You guys figure it out with Kaido." And then right before we get to the juicy part, like was it Prometheus and Prometheus is just talking to Big Mom, saying how bad Zeus is, and Kid and Killer are on the edge, seeing the clouds do some funky things. Which are they doing? Like the I'm assuming they're doing like the thing that when Shanks and Whitebeard clash, they're like conforming into each other. I mean, the visual can only do so much
So
without.
that's a fun speculation right now because I mean it was right after Prometheus asked Big Mom for a favor, and so some think that it is Big Mom using her homies to make a new Zeus. Some think that it is like you were saying, the Conqueror's Hockey about to collide. And so the clouds are about to do their thing, like when Whitebeard and Shanks collided. Because as we know, Kaido and Luffy are about to collide. Um, I don't know. I think there's like another theory, but I don't think it's the Luffy and Kaido one because at this moment Luffy is still down, and this is happening over the water, not over where they are. I don't necessarily know if I think that it's Big Mom using her homies to make a new Zeus either. I and maybe I'm just like saying this because people have speculated earlier that Anel was there, and so to like make some fun with this,
You just want Anel to come back.
It's Anel coming back, not purposely arriving at Wano, but just like Anel,
entering the world like the regular people world again. He's come back from space. He went on his journey. Now he's back as
and it just so happens to be over Wano, and that's what the clouds are doing there. I don't know.
You can hope.
Yeah, one can add some fun. I honestly think at this point of One Piece that Oda is letting us write the story.
What's next? Just does a Twitter poll and it's like, yes, what want to see next.
I think the most like the things that keep getting theorized the most are just kind of the path that he goes on. So I'm just starting to think that Oda's just like making a chapter and then he'll wait. And he's like, "What are people saying? What's everyone saying?" All right,
that's pretty good.
Let's go that route. That's what we're doing now. We're going that way.
Damn, I didn't even think of that.
What do you guys think that the favor is though that Prometheus asked? Because they were literally just talking about how quote unquote useless Zeus is. Not always Zeus's fault. Zeus wants to go to Big Mom right now. He's literally trapped and can't get out. Nami tricked him and gave him something that like he really loved, and like that's why Nami got him. So it's not Zeus's fault, but like, what do you guys think Prometheus's favor was to Big Mom?
I think to give him Zeus's power, like give him like a portion of Zeus's power, so he can like now I'm thinking about it a little more. Is just like why the clouds are doing that because like he can fire, like just like lightning. He'll become like more of a tornado. That's what I'm trying to get into because I don't know weather like that, but he's just turning himself into a tornado, like a soul tornado, and it's just gonna like raise Big Mom up into the clouds and let her float on top of that. On top of the vortex of the tornado.
I don't know if her homies can combine, but I might see, Zeus, not Zeus, but Prometheus asking Big Mom to give him all of Zeus's power, or just, let him eat Zeus or absorb Zeus and then become one entity that can better protect her.
That and let him absorb Napoleon too and just become like a sword tornado, lightning tornado. I don't know.
Interesting.
What do you think, Dom?
I think maybe his favor has something to do with killing. Or I guess in the official translation it wasn't I have a favor. That was the scan. In the official translation it was Mama, can I ask you for something? think it's technically still a favor, but
just like
I
the
think,
panel. Sorry, go finish your
well,
thought.
uh, again, they were just talking about Zeus, so maybe it is a power up to some extent, or for her to make a new. I don't know why he would ask for her to make something new though. It has to do. I feel like it has to do with giving Prometheus more power, but I don't think that she can give him any type of electrical powers because homies are souls that are put into an inanimate object that turns into something already. Since Prometheus already exists, I don't think she can put more soul into him to make him also something else. Like he is flame. That was what he was that she put the powers into and turned into Prometheus. So I think she can only make a new homie by doing something with the clouds or anything like that. I don't think she can make Prometheus anything more than what he already is. But maybe so maybe the favor is just to get rid of Zeus. Like
Maybe that like his Prometheus face from like the panel before he asked for something for a favor. He's like he just has a smile as like something's up to no good. Like I'm up to something no good.
Yep.
Because other the panel 4, he's like, oh, I'm so angry at Zeus. He's a screw up. We should never invite him in here to this party anyway. He's like, oh, by the way, I have a pretty good idea. If you trust me, it's like,
I mean, there are three of them, and you got the big brother Prometheus, I guess the little brother Napoleon, and then you got like the redheaded stepchild of Zeus that I guess none of them like.
I mean, I feel like they liked him until, he started going with Nami because she was giving him tasty clouds, which honestly, I'm not really surprised about because Lindlin would have literally done the same thing, and that's a part of her personality.
But
for some food,
as Prometheus said, he said he's a dunce, a dope, and he's always holding us back. So I don't think it's like new. I think Prometheus has always felt this way about Zeus, and now that like Zeus is finally not showing up to being a good part, he can finally be like, look, mama, I know I'm saying these things, but like I have some backing now. Like there's evidence that I'm better than him and that he's like a bunch of nothing. I don't know. We're on a 2-week hiatus, so I guess we'll find a 2-week break. So I guess we'll find out later. But I think it has something to do with making a new homie. It would also be interesting if Big Mom made homies out of the water instead. Because now that I'm looking at that panel again, the one right above it where they get saved, those waves are really high up, to where like Big Mom could kind of just throw a soul into a wave and like make a wave a homie. Just saying. Though I don't think that will work because it's salt, because it's seawater, and if it's anything like Moria's powers, the moment seawater touches the devil fruit power, it can't be used. So never mind.
Well, I'm trying to think, what else could she use as like an elemental weapon? I can only think of water because you had electricity and air, the sword, which is, maybe an earth golem or something like that. I don't know. Guess we'll just have to see. Wait and see. But then we got Zoro about to come after Kaido. He's like, hey, that's my captain. Get your hands off.
Because, I mean, like Kaido said, Luffy's giving him that same stare from when he first knocked him out. Even though he knocked him out and he's unconscious, he's still glaring at him, giving him that stare now.
But he pre-warns Law, like, this is going to be it for me. This is all I got.
Yep.
This is all I got. And then I don't know, because I didn't read this during Water 7 when it happened, but I remember the animation for it. But like actually reading the Demon Aura, Dinosaur style Ashura, when that popped up, like, oh my god! Like I didn't read it, but like I remember watching the anime. It's like that's pretty cool. But reading it, it's really cool. Like as much of a Zoro hater I want to be, but this part was awesome.
This is definitely going to be a part where I have to go back and watch it, like when the anime comes up, because like the animation's already gotten top notch. So once it gets here, I'm just going to be like, yeah, I got to watch this. And
it's like, of course, he has to do like the badass swordman style. After you cut somebody down, you stand there for a second. Like, yeah, you cut him, but then you're the one who falls afterwards. But you got to stand your ground after you do a cool sword cut.
And then, Law looks stupefied. It's like, oh my gosh, Kaido, he's obviously taking the damage. That's probably going to be another scar that never leaves. And we get the hint that, hey, Zoro can use the color of the Supreme King. And he obviously has infused that in some way into his, sword strike. So
Either that or Enma has the king's power within it, within the sword.
No, because Conqueror's Hockey is about willpower, and I don't think Enma has a willpower. But I think what it did was that because Enma consistently makes Zoro use Hockey and pull out the extent of his Hockey, even though it was more of the armament variety, it awakened Zoro's Conqueror's Hockey. Because I mean, it was for me. It was always expected and speculated that Zoro would get Conqueror's Hockey. I mean, if he's anything like Rayleigh, we should know that he was going to. I mean, an incredibly powerful right hand man. He's going to get Conqueror's Hockey, and it was just never a thing yet. But now that he has a sword that's making him pull every ounce of him out, and as Zoro even said himself, like that attack, he put everything into that attack. Everything he had, he put into that one attack. And I'm guessing like Enma pulled out Zoro's Conqueror's Hockey. Because I don't think the sword of it in and of itself can have Conqueror's Hockey. It can, I mean, it pulls out and makes you really use your armament Hockey. And I guess any of your other Hockey, not really any of the other Hockey, because Zoro's observation Hockey is, mid tier. But definitely kind of awoken his Conqueror's Hockey and added Conqueror's Hockey to his blade, similar to Whitebeard and Roger, and that's what left a new wound in Kaido. And quite honestly, I think if Zoro did this everything into this one attack type of thing, and it brought out his Conqueror's Hockey at the same time before he was hurt, like that first time he really went after Kaido and went to go slash Kaido, I thought it could have defeated Kaido from the jump because he was a lot more because Zoro wasn't hurt and he had like his full power. But now we know that Zoro's on like I would say Zoro's running on like 10 to 15% right now when he pulls out Ashura because he's done so many attacks throughout the manga and the rooftop battle, and he quite clearly is looking like he's on death's bed with all the damage he took from the previous attacks and blocking, Conqueror of the Sea, so that like a Conquest of the Sea. So I think we're a much weaker Zoro, still pulling out Ashura and leaving a scar. So I think a full strength Zoro does a lot more than just leaves a scar.
I'm not sure if you checked out in the panels before leading up, but they never show his left eye in any of the panels. So when he was swinging his sword, he could have actually had his eye open, but we will never know.
They don't.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh yeah. So that's what I'm like. That's why I was waiting for you to finish up. And was like, okay, hold up. Let me show you guys this little detail that I just saw. So that might be when he unlocks his like Supreme Hockey or King's Hockey. But at the same time, that's what we would, or if the demon inside Zoro, like when he opens his eyes, is actually released. I don't know, like that's just something to speculate on. But I just love that little detail in the manga that you actually never see if his eye is actually open yet or not.
Wow, that's a good catch, Matt. And then Kaido comes in being a badass, especially with like Law, and he's like, "Well, Zoro, get out of the way." He's like, "Hold on, I'll come to you.
Don't worry about this. I will destroy both of you." And just sends thunder.
Thunder Bagua.
And oh man, Luffy stand up. Actually, it's one. It almost gives me like the Arlong arc, like the walk to Arlong vibe kind of thing. He just stands up after when they're both down. It's like, thank you guys for protecting me. Now it's my turn to protect you. It's the same thing of like when he's putting the hat on Nami and he's like, okay, Nami, it's time for us to help you out finally.
But he gets up at the coolest part. He gets up at the coolest part because it's right after Kaido thinks that he's won and starts to be like, if you all wouldn't have fought me and instead you could have joined me and we could have conquered the world together. And Luffy's like, join you, please. You're an idiot. We like the samurai.
Really samurai too much. Then then just the action scenes. Luffy actually hitting Kaido and putting him down. And I think that's the first time we've seen Kaido actually hit the floor in this whole fight. It's,
but I mean, it took Luffy, I guess, just getting hit enough with that attack, because that's the third time. Well, was that the second or third time that he got hit by the Thunder Bagua? No, he got hit by Ragnarok twice. Yeah, Ragnarok twice, and then Thunder Bagua once. So what took him getting hit by that attack? Well, that type of attack like 3 times.
Yeah, to where he understood that he guess he had the flashback from Higoro's training of like understanding that you can put hockey, not just armament hockey, but other hockey being, Conqueror's hockey, on items and objects, and
or into
that's what and that's what Kaido had been doing the whole time, and why it was taking Luffy out so easily. And maybe Luffy even understood that because he saw that he tried to block some of the attacks with his own advanced armament, and it was dealing Luffy damage still. And I guess that kind of was Luffy's understanding of like, oh, this isn't just armament hockey that Kaido's attacking me with. This is Conqueror's hockey, and kind of got that confirmed from Kaido when he was like, can you put Conqueror's hockey on other things?
He's like, yeah, only a handful can do it. Not a dead man walking.
Yeah, and Luffy's like, I ain't the dead man walking, bitch. And jumped up. And I mean, for me, it was really cool because it wasn't like Luffy went and turned and like threw his strongest punch at Kaido, and like that's what was his first Conqueror's hockey blocking attack. It was him using his foot, putting Conqueror's hockey on his feet, and like stopping the mace attack from Kaido, that we just get to see this whole like, okay, Luffy.
And
okay,
they never
Luffy.
touch.
Yeah.
So that just confirms it for the other things that we've seen where they've been using Conqueror's hockey.
And you see the black lightning that indicates Conqueror's hockey. You see that coming off of his feet.
Yeah, but like it was weird when Doflamingo was about to step on the ball, and that's when Luffy put his foot out. But it was like they didn't. I don't think he infused Conqueror's hockey into his foot. It was just his aura of Conqueror's hockey that was coming out.
Yeah, it was. I think that was
this time around. It's the opposite. It's inside him this time.
Yes. He coded his attacks in Conqueror's hockey, and like Matt said, the action scenes, him right hook, right uppercut, just in Law in the background being astonished about what's going on, which this part isn't talked about enough, but like Law just got hit by a Thunder Bagua, and Law was up watching what's happening. And for all we know, this is the first time Law's been hit with the Thunder Bagua. Luffy got hit with it for the first time. Luffy was out.
But like at least Law, he's like a ricochet from the Thunder Bagua, because like it definitely hit Zoro first, and then it went on to Law. Because Kaido said, like, I'm like, you don't need to come to me, I'll come to you. And like I could be mistaken.
Say that again, Matt. You went kind of pixelated at the end.
Oh. No, like, unless I'm mistaken, because he said, like, I'll, like, no need to come to me, I'll come to you.
Right, but that attack moved Kaido over. Because if you look at the first panel, Kaido standing over Zoro, then he uses Thunder Bagua, and at the end of it, he's over by Law.
Yeah, and then it looked like the electricity was coming off of both of them, at least a little bit.
Yeah, he hit them both with the Thunder Bagua.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Okay, yeah, so he went and like struck him like baseball bat kind of style. Like he just took Zoro out first, and Law was on. Even still, Law was still in the background. Like he was still behind Zoro. Like Zoro got the majority hit of it.
I felt like Law got more of it because he just got that mace at the end. Yeah, but they probably both got a fair amount of damage. So, but it's also very interesting to see like, Luffy and Kaido fighting this battle the same amount of time, but Luffy's, Conqueror's hockey is better than Kaido's, even though
Kaido's been that.
I wouldn't say that they're equal power. Like Kaido's just like I think Luffy can concentrate his more in his smaller body than Kaido can through his huge body.
I don't know about
Like
that.
it's gonna. Then what do you think, Dom?
You think he was just like thrown off guard, and that's why
I mean, I don't think the size of your body matters when it comes to your Conqueror's Haki.
Yeah.
Conqueror's Haki is Conqueror's Haki. It's for you. I don't think the size of you matters. It's just that, like, it's. I feel like it's same thing with Katakuri. Like this battle is his Katakuri fight. It is Kaido having a stronger Conqueror's Haki and knowing how to use it, but Luffy throughout the fight learning how to use it, and because of Luffy's durability, even though Kaido's unkillable, Luffy starting to turn the page. Because when he fought Katakuri, Katakuri had the observation haki and was quite clearly owning Luffy. But Luffy was developing his observation haki throughout that fight. And at the end of it all, won the battle. Even though, even at the end of that battle, I would still say Katakuri's observation haki and future sight was better than Luffy's. So I think that's kind of what this is that it's the same thing with Kaido, but now instead of observation haki, it is now armament and conquerors haki that we are doing this development with. It's Luffy training. It's Oda showing Luffy's durability. It's Luffy being able to fully exert his haki to the nth degree, and then somehow after being passed out for 10 minutes and then however long he was out after the next attack from Kaido, Luffy continuing to be able to get back up, have his haki replenished, and just like the Saiyans from Dragon Ball Z, getting stronger after fights. And technically he's in the same fight, but he had been out long enough that it allowed him to recover and learn and now use what he learned. And I think that's what's happening.
That's that's the same thing what he did in the Crocodile fight too. Like, he got wrecked the first time.
Yep.
But then he learned, and then he got wrecked again. Then he is like, okay, don't let him touch me. That's but
yep, exactly.
But for the Kaido one, is like, okay, just don't let him. Like, I can now block his attack. I'm not just gonna be hurt by it now.
Yeah, because
Luffy
knowing advanced armament and knowing advanced conquerors. Now, knowing advanced conquerors, I think is what puts him above the edge. Because I don't think Kaido knows advanced both. I think Kaido knows advanced conquerors, maybe, or advanced armament. One of the two. But I don't think Kaido knows both. And now Luffy knows both. He learned advanced armament thanks to Higuro, and I think learning from Kaido, he learned advanced conquerors or whatever. And now that's what's giving Luffy the upper hand.
Okay, I can accept that.
Yeah, I'm just excited that next 11 days from the time we're recording right now until next all of our answers only get more questions.
Yep.
Yep.
Watch us not even be on the roof anymore. It goes back down at a time when we're like, oh.
Absolutely. I mean, Luffy told Law that him and Zoro can go downstairs now. He's got her from here, which pretty much means that that's exactly what's about to happen, is that Law's going to transport Zoro and him down. I think Law heals Zoro. I think he takes him to somewhere that is currently abandoned and heals Zoro because we know Law's a doctor. And earlier he mentioned that he's pretty sure blocking Conquest of the Seas broke every bone in Zoro's body. So I think Law quite clearly observes or looks over Zoro's body and then begins a healing process for him. And then maybe as Zoro's healing, Zoro, Law goes to join the fight downstairs and, maybe helps out with Nami and Usopp or some shit. I don't know. And Zoro's recovering, and while Zoro's recovering, maybe this is where the Orochi thing happens, is Orochi's final runaway just happens to wander up where Zoro is, and
then Zoro releases a demon inside him and just kills Orochi off, which
Zoro
I'm okay with. That's how Orochi goes out for the third
Zoro
time.
sees Orochi and gets that memory from when he was with Hiyori, and it's you're the one, and then kills Orochi for the final time. And then of course we know how with Zoro's toughness that he tries to trudge along, and maybe somewhere in there he finds one of the commanders, whichever commander he's supposed to fight. Because at this point, I think that's what's going to happen. Is we now have Zoro's going to fight a commander, Sandy's going to fight a commander, and then maybe the Scabbards finish off Jack. I don't know. And then we see the rest of what happens downstairs. We see Apu finally maybe switch sides because quite clearly he just heard what Queen was saying to everyone else, and maybe that makes Apu. And plus, Queen was like, Apu, if you don't, get the antidote back, I'm going to kill you. So maybe Apu's finally like, I'm just going to switch teams. Hawkins quite clearly is going to switch teams. I think he's reading the cards and is seeing the shifting of the tides. Yeah, now he's like, my survival rate's greater if I join the Alliance versus stay with the Beast Pirates, and that switches Hawkins' side. So that's Apu and Hawkins switching teams, and but before Orochi runs into Zoro, he's obviously gonna go talk to CP0 and how whatever secret competition he needs to have with them. And then we see the rest of the fights, like we see Sasaki and Frankie finish their battle, and Who's-Who and Jinbei finish their battle, and
Robin and Black Maria.
Yeah, Robin and Black Maria and Brooke finish their battle because I don't think we're going to get much of like the action from their battles on paper. I think we're going to get like another quick insight, and then after the insight, we're going to get the conclusion where there's like it pans back to their screen, and then we just see one person standing up amongst a body of people knocked down, and then we get revealed who it was that won the fight of each individual action. And I don't think every Stryad's going to win every battle. I think some Stryads are going to win. I think some Toby Robos are going to win, and it's going to keep the battle going. It would be very interesting if every Straw Hat won. From the lineups, I think it could be possible. I mean, it's easy for me to think that Jinbei beats Who's-Who, that Frankie beats Sasaki, because I mean he was owning Sasaki the whole time. I think the one that's going to be the most intriguing is going to be Page One and Ulti versus Usopp and Nami, because Usopp and Nami were getting owned by Page One and Ulti, and then after
once, and then they're going to be out.
Yeah, and then after Tama arrived, they kind of changed. They didn't change the tide because they're running away. But they're running away while still kind of fighting. So I think that's the only one where we're like undecided as to what's going to really happen there. And then I think that's all the Toby Ropo. And then Robin and Brooke versus Black Maria. I think that's an easy, not an easy. I think that's a mid-diff dub for Robin and Brooke, because it's two of them versus just Black Maria, and Brooke's ice allows him to freeze any of her web attacks. Robin's ability allows her to make any as big of a arm, hand, whatever that she needs to deal damage to Black Maria, who is such a large creature. And so I think for them, it's not an easy win, but it's a mid win. I don't think it's going to be too difficult for them, and I think that's kind of how that plays out.
I just hope Robin just lays down the pipe on Black Maria and just like finish it off really quickly. I don't think like she will take more than, I don't think like one chapter should be more than enough for Robin to actually win that fight.
But we don't know the true essence and powers of Black Maria. And that's why I'm still unsure. I think they win for sure.
Time will tell.
Just not sure how easy they win. But then again, maybe they don't. Maybe Black Maria takes out Brooks somehow or traps him, and then she takes Robin and runs off, because we know that's what the goal is. The end goal is to take Robin and get out.
Yeah, I don't think so. I doubt it, but we'll see.
Well, as always, it's been great, guys. Thanks for joining us. Remember to follow us on Instagram. We just got a Twitter account as well, so we'll start posting on there. We'll have polls of suggestions for the next week's topics for episodes. So follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Anything else, guys?
Yep. If you want to email us at monstertriopodcast@gmail.com for any suggestions, ideas, comments, concerns, anything. We will respond.
Yep. And that's same thing for the Instagram page. It's Monster Trio Podcast, and then for Twitter it is MON Trio Podcast. So please follow us on those sites, so we know you're listening, and so we can get more feedback from you guys. And yeah, we're gonna start putting out some, like Tawan said, some polls. We're gonna maybe put polls out to see types of topics you guys would be interested in listening to. So please do follow us on those different social media accounts and emails, and listen into and give us your feedback, and obviously tell your friends and your family about us. We would love to grow with you and grow with your friends and grow with your family as we grow with each other.
I'll also rate us on whatever platform you're listening to us on: Audible, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. Everything helps. So we love your continued support, and thank you.
Awesome. Peace.
All right, guys. Peace.